What's going on, guys? Tristan24 here and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video I have got for you the games to watch in the month of March. So this will include the Premier League and the Championship. I'm not going to do it for any other leagues or any other competitions. I do know the Champions League is running as well as Europa League at this time and in the month of March. But I think Premier League and Championship I have the best knowledge on out of all the English leagues and the other competitions. And I don't want this to be an hour-long video, so these are the games to watch in the month of March. So we'll be going from the 4th of March all the way to the end of the month, where I think the last game I've got for you guys to watch is on the 20th of March. Because at the end of March, of course, we have the international break. So that should be interesting at the end of the month, but it's not including them, it's including these games. So what information will you get from this video? Well, you'll get the date they're playing, who's playing, so the fixture, get the kickoff time, if it's on at TV, so at the time of recording I may say it's on, for example, Club TV, if it's not being shown on Sky or BT, but it's best always to just research. OneFootball's a really good app. Click on the fixture, you want to see if it's on, and then at the bottom, if you scroll all the way down, it should say TV coverage, if it's on somewhere, and what channel. So that's quite useful. For Sky Sports though, just search Sky Sports, enter your club name, the team you want to watch, and then it should say it in there. But this is all from the time of recording, so I hope you enjoy the video as well, guys. The other thing we'll be saying where they're playing, so the stadium of course, and then I'll give my prediction for this time when I'm recording this. So of course, in the month of March, for example, we've got the South Wales Derby. I'll give my prediction what I think it'll be right now, and then when we get closer to the time, I'll probably change my mind on it. So yeah, let's get straight into the video. So the first game I've got for you to watch, this is only really big games and tight games where I think it could go the other way. Of course, we're getting to the end of the season now, and relegation and promotion, playoff chasing teams. Of course, all of that drama and tension starts to kick in. So the first game I've got is on the 4th of March, the day I'm recording this video, and it's Fulham against Spurs. Now this was actually a game to be played a few match weeks ago. It did end up getting postponed, can't quite remember the reason. Kick-off for this one is at 6 o'clock, it's on club TVs, so for example every club has a TV channel now where you can watch the game. For example, Swans TV, and you can pay to watch the games. So that will be on Fulham and Spurs' TV channels. Their club, I'm not too sure what they're called, guys. They'll be playing at Craven Cottage, and for a quick school prediction, I'm going to favour Fulham for a draw against Spurs. I'll go 1-1. Next game tonight is also Liverpool versus Chelsea. This is a really big game. Kick-off at 8:15 tonight. It's on Sky Sports Premier League also, and they are playing at Anfield. And if I had to go for a score prediction, I'd go 3-1 Chelsea. Liverpool, they're just not performing at the moment. Yes, I think they got a 2-0 win against Sheffield United, but they're bottom of the league. Chelsea under Tuchel, they look okay, to be fair. He seems like he's already suited there in one way, but also it doesn't quite match him at Chelsea, in my opinion. So yeah, a bit of mixed opinions on that, but I think Chelsea can get the job done against Liverpool in the form right now. These next set of fixtures take place on the 6th of March, and kicking it off with Sheffield United against Southampton. Sheffield United got a massive 3 points against Aston Villa, I think it was last night actually, and there are only 4 wins at the time of recording this off survival. So 4 wins. Southampton, they haven't been great recently. They're still in the scrap. Well, not clear of the scrap, because Fulham could still catch them, should I say, not chase them. But this is a big game for Sheffield United if they want to get out of trouble. They've got to be winning these sort of games, but Southampton probably come into it as favourites. The kick-off time for this one, and on the 6th of March, is 3 o'clock kick-off. It's on Sky Sports Premier League, and of course Bramall Lane is the home of Sheffield United, so that's where they will be playing. Will it be a Premier League ground next season, or would it be a Championship ground? And for a score prediction, I'll go 2-1 Sheffield United. fancy them for this one. Next game is Aston Villa against Wolves. Always a tasty game, this one, of course. As you know, 5:30 kickoff on the 6th of March. It's on Sky Sports Premier League as well. We're playing, of course, at Villa Park. And for a score prediction, I'm backing Villa to bounce back from their last result against Sheffield United. I think they'll win 2-1 in this game. Now, the last game on the 6th of March I've got for you guys to watch is a tasty one in the Championship. Millwall against Blackburn. Now, both teams haven't been at the best this season. Last season they were superb. But both teams in around mid-table, looking to have a late push for the playoff spots. It's looking unlikely for Blackburn. Over recent weeks they have slipped off. Millwall, they're still mid-table. They could sneak in, but they need a good run of form. So many draws this season for Millwall. And in this game, it kicks off at 3 o'clock on the 6th of March. It's on Club TV's no Sky Sport coverage for this one. So Millwall on Blackburn's Club TV's sites. It's playing at the Den, which is never ever an easy place to go. Trust me, I know from experience when Swansea played there, every season at the moment for the last 3 years. And of course, I remember that 2-1 win against Millwall. Courtney Breaker Richardson got sent off, I think it was 5 minutes in, and we come back from 1 goal down, if my memory is correct. But for a score prediction in this one, a 3-1 to the home team. Next games take place on the 7th of March, kicking it off with West Brom Newcastle. This one is massive for both teams. West Brom, they just beat Brighton. You could say that was very lucky. Brighton, they missed 2 penalties, a free kick, controversialness. It was so intense. This one kicks off 12 o'clock on the 7th of March. It's a really, really big game. It's not actually on Sky Sports, it's on Club TV's. Of course, this can still change as the time recording this. So make sure you double check just in case, but I'm 99.9% sure these are confirmed already. They're playing at the Hawthorns, of course, and for a score prediction, this is huge. Newcastle about to get dragged into it. They've just lost St. Maximum due to injury, and another key player. I'm not too sure who it was off the top of my head, as I'm not a Newcastle fan. West Brom, of course, they just got a massive 3 points, and if they want to try and keep up with Fulham to get out of the relegation zone and keep away from getting bottom of the table, they have to win, really, this type of match. It's a huge 6-pointer at the bottom of the Premier League, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Same day we have got Man City, Man United. They kick off at 4:30 PM. It's on Sky Sports Premier League, playing at the Etihad Stadium, and Man City at the moment, they just look unstoppable. Man United, yes, they are going through a bit of a blip right now, just like Swansea went through in the Championship. If I compare them to them, well, we know Man United are levels above us right now, of course. But Man United, a really good team, not over the last few weeks. They haven't been performing to their best. Man City, though, really strong team. Really, really strong team. I know this is a derby, the Manchester derby, but a few Man United fans say their biggest rivals is Liverpool. Now, I've got a friend, a Man United fan, and he said that Liverpool are bigger rivals to them than Man City. And I think, though, this game, can't see anyone beating Man City at the moment. So 3-1 to Man City. Moving on then, we've got 9th of March in the calendar already. Luton against Rovrum. I do believe this is a rescheduled game, and it is massive. For Rovrum, not the biggest for Luton, of course. They seem to be safe, but still could do with a few more wins just to guarantee that, and maybe even push for the playoffs, as that middle part of the Championship is so tight at the moment. We've seen a few weeks ago with Cardiff, of course, Swansea's biggest rivals. They were just 16th, I think it was, when Mick McCarthy took over. 10 more games on, I think it is, or something like that, and they are pushing for the playoffs. That's how much you can change. This one, though, it kicks off at 7 o'clock on March the 9th. It's on the Club TV websites, of course, and they're playing at Kenilworth Road. Well, other people call it someone's backyard, because you have to go through someone's garden apparently to get in. Never been, but sounds fun. Going on a bit of an adventure there. But for a score prediction, I'm going to back the visitors. Rovrum, they've just got a massive win against Sheffield Wednesday in the dying embers of that game, and I think they're going to get another win here. I think Rotherham will stay up at the end of the season. That's irrelevant right now. I'll say 2-1 to the away team. March the 13th has a few really tasty fixtures then in the Championship. Starting it off then with Rotherham against Coventry. Both teams are in a scrap for relegation. Coventry have more points, but Rotherham have games in hand at the moment. It's going to be a tough game. It kicks off at 3 o'clock on March the 13th. It's on the Club TV websites, of course. They're playing at New York Stadium, not in New York, at the New York Stadium, guys. But for a score prediction, I'll go 1-1. Coventry, they look to be really good. Apparently as well, news came out this morning that they'll be able to return to they're getting a deal to return to their stadium, of course, and then have about 7 years tied down at that stadium until they'll have that time or something to build a stadium so they can move in there permanently. Because of course the stadium they were in 2 seasons ago is a rugby club as well. Not the biggest knowledge person to ask about all this, but that's what I can get from the news articles reporting on it. Next up though, we've got a huge game again. All these are massive games I've got here, guys. Same date, March the 13th, Middlesbrough against Stoke. Now, could be interesting. Swans have just got a massive win against Stoke. The first away win we have had at Stoke in over 20 years or 20 years. So that's the first away win at Stoke in my lifetime, and many of the viewers that are Swansea fans. Middlesbrough take on Stoke. Middlesbrough, they've been okay. That's Swansea's next game typically. 3 o'clock kick-off, at the Riverside, of course. It's going to be a close game, this one, but I'll have to back the home side for a 2-1 win. They look really good at home. And the next game on March the 13th is Cardiff against Watford. Now, this was interesting earlier on in the season. Do believe Cardiff got the win, if I am correct in saying that. 3 o'clock kick-off, Club TV at the Cardiff City Stadium. Watford, though, they look really good at the moment. It's going to be an interesting game, but I think I'm going to have to back Watford for a 3-1 win there. And the final game I've got for you guys recommended to watch on March the 13th is Crystal Palace against West Brom. Another massive game at the bottom of the Premier League. Sorry, they could be Championship clubs next season. Palace, they seem to have edged away from the relegation zone right now, so maybe not as big for them. But West Brom, you know, they've got Newcastle the game before, and now they've got Crystal Palace. So that's 6 points they really could get in the relegation battle. 3 o'clock kick-off. It's on Sky Sports Premier League on March the 13th. Sellers Park. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 Crystal Palace win, you know. Will Sam Allardyce finally get relegated? March the 14th also has a few exciting fixtures, starting it off with Southampton against Brighton. I'm not too sure if there's some sort of rivalry there, or if I've just picked the wrong clubs. I know Brighton's biggest rivals are Palace, and Southampton's biggest rivals are Portsmouth. But they're both on the south coast, aren't they? So, not sure if it's a rival or not. It's on 12 o'clock, March the 14th, BBC One. St Mary's taking place there. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that one. I'll probably be doing a watch-along for that one as well, guys. Stay tuned. March the 14th as well has the North London Derby, a huge game. I know a lot of Spurs fans. I know a lot of Arsenal fans on the channel as well. 4:30 at the Emirates, Sky Sports Premier League. We could well do a watch-along for this one as well. I'll go for a 2-1 Arsenal win. Of course, Spurs got the win in the earlier fixture this season, but I think the Gunners will get the win at the Emirates on their home soil. Moving towards the end of March then, well, we're halfway through right now, but near the end of the fixtures I've got recommended for you guys to watch. So the first one on March the 16th comes with Luton against Coventry. Coventry, every game is like a final for them right now, fighting for their lives, although they're not actually in the relegation zone. It's not too big for them, but it's a championship and they can easily get dragged into it in a week or two in the relegation zone. They'll be hoping not to, though. It's a game against Luton, who they are doing really well. They're not doing really well at the moment. They've dropped a few points, if I am right in saying that. I'm really sorry for the blip then. But it's going to be a close game either way. It kicks off at 7 o'clock. It's on club TVs, of course, Luton and Coventry. Kenilworth Road. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw at Kenilworth Road on the 16th of March. Later kick-off then is Bournemouth versus Swansea. A massive game in the playoff race for Bournemouth. Swansea still pushing for top 2. I still think we can get it with the games in hand. Sky Sports Football, this one's on at 7:45 on the 16th. Playing at the Vitality Stadium. And I've got to back a Swans win here. I'll go 2-0. Last time was a 0-0 draw. Really frustrating. But Bournemouth, they've gone a bit downhill in my opinion since then. We've gone uphill for sure. I'll go 2-0 Swans. 17th then, one day after those fixtures, so this would be a midweek, of course. QPR take on Millwall. 7 o'clock kick-off. QPR, they've looked really good in recent weeks. Millwall looked okay. They're turning the draws into wins now, which is of course main for them, because earlier on in the season, I mentioned it before, they just couldn't stop drawing, which isn't bad, getting points on the table, but you don't want to be drawing every game. It's on the club TVs, Loftus Road, of course, or the Kean Prince Foundation Stadium, as it is known nowadays, but I'll always know it as Loftus Road for the time being anyway. I'll go for 1-0 QPR. Feel like they'll just about edge it in that one. The same night, we have Sheffield Wednesday taking on Huddersfield Town. Now, Huddersfield Town, they've had, I think it's one win again in 2021. That was against Swansea. Don't mention it, guys. Don't mention it. Sheffield Wednesday, though, are they down? That is the big question. They'll be fighting for their absolute lives. Both teams in the relegation scrap. There's no doubt about that. I think it's going to be really tight. Whatever happens could decide the team's fate in the relegation battle, of course, for Wednesday more than Huddersfield, because they have more points at the moment. Hillsborough, it would have been packed out, I'm sure, or at least quite full for this game, because, of course, Sheffield. But I'll go for a 3-1 Huddersfield win in this one. I think they will get the win against Sheffield Wednesday, and I can see Sheffield Wednesday just going down to League One next season, just to stabilise themselves in there, recruit everyone, get back up to the Championship, and then stabilise themselves as a Championship club again. And then, in 10 years we might see them pushing for the Premier League, which is of course their dreams. But at the moment, if they stay another season in the Championship, I can only see them struggling. But League One may be their best bet. We never know. Of course they want to stay up though. 19th of March, we have Fulham against Leeds. A big game for Fulham. Leeds, they seem to be safe, but I won't say they are yet, because of course anything can happen. 8 o'clock kick-off on the 19th. Sky Sports Premier League will be showing it live. Craven Cottage is the destination for that game, and I'll actually back Fulham for a 2-1 win at home. I do think they will survive this season, but who will take their place? We'll have to find out. The 20th of March is a big game for sporting events, because of course we have the South Wales Derby. I'll get onto that in just a second though. So the first game on the March the 20th, I've got for you guys recommended to watch. Millwall against Middlesbrough. 3 o'clock kick-off at the Den. Club TV's showing this one. Of course, I've already explained Millwall. They can't stop drawing. Middlesbrough, sorry. Too many M's I'm thinking about. Middlesbrough, though, they are really inconsistent at the moment, though, aren't they? You just never know what Middlesbrough team is going to turn up, and even if they get a lead, they can't really hold on to it at the moment. It seems to be from a few weeks ago when it was the Brentford game, but Brentford are top team. Anyway, though, I think this one is going to end in a 1-1 draw. Another draw for Millwall won't help them, but it's another point on the board. Coventry Wycombe, that is massive, massive, massive for Wycombe. Recent weeks we've seen the team fighting ever since their 3-2 comeback against Huddersfield. Will they go down? It looks likely, but never say never till the end, because Wycombe, they do look good at the moment. Not in terms of getting results, but they're holding teams at the moment. They were unlucky not to get anything from Watford midweek. They lost 2-0 having a goal disallowed, but on another day, that could have ended in a 1-1 draw and a huge point for Wycombe. But in this one, 3 o'clock kick-off at St Andrews, of course, Coventry's temporary stadium. Go for a 1-0 Coventry. Don't think Wycombe will get anything out of that one, but they could do. These are just my predictions this time. Yeah, near the date, I think Coventry, they might win it. You never know what's going to happen with Coventry or Wycombe. We'll just have to find out. And on the March the 20th as well, we have the Sheffield derby, Swansea against Cardiff. It's a brilliant game. If you are neutral, just wanting to watch good football, this is the game. Sky Sports Football, of course, Liberty Stadium is the destination for this one. Can Swansea create history? We say it every time one team wins the first Sheffield derby in the season. We did it last year, then we drew at Cardiff. We beaten Cardiff 2-0 in the first fixture this season. Now it's our turn just to make history. Will we do it, or will Cardiff finally score versus us in the first time in 8 years? That's right. They haven't scored against us in 8 years, just like they haven't beaten us in 8 years. So, for this one, I've got to back the Jack Army. Otherwise, that would be disgraceful. And a 2-0 win for the Swans. I do think we'll pick up form by then. And the Mick McCarthy effect by Cardiff, we'll see them slide down the table. Let's hope. Final game, then, before the international break I've got for you guys to watch, is West Ham against Arsenal. It could be a cracker. West Ham exceeding expectations this season. Arsenal, you could say they're below them, but at the moment Arsenal's still in the transition and trust the process and all that stuff. Tough game, 3 o'clock kick-off, Sky Sports Premier League coverage, London Stadium is the destination. Go for a 2-1 Arsenal win. I think West Ham, they've done really well recently, but I think they just drop off a little bit towards the end of the season. I do think they'll finish in the top 6 though, just not the top 4. Maybe that's a step too far to have Craig Dawson playing in the Champions League next season, but anything can happen. So they are the games I recommend you guys watching this month then, guys. Hope you enjoy the recommendations. Of course, that's not all of them. That was only 20 games, so there's many, many more to pick from. Let me know in the comment section down below. I think I've missed any. And yeah, let me know predictions for the big games, of course. Most of them that I've mentioned are big games. And let me know if you'll be watching any of them. Until next time, guys, though, take care and stay safe. Come on, you Swans.